Hello there and a very warm welcome to another edition of Channels Beam. I'm Victor Matthias. Now, mixed reactions trailed the announcement of President Bola Tinubu signing into law the student loan bill on Monday, June the 12th. Now, while some have applauded the move, some believe the way and manner it will be executed will exclude some, while others believe payment plan will not be feasible as the current high percentage of unemployed youths in the country is quite staggering. Now, this will be our focus today on the show, but as always, before we get into that, let's quickly take you through the trends in the past week.
Nigerian wives, mothers, sons and daughters, biological and non-biological, join their counterparts across the globe to celebrate the men in their lives on Father's Day. Father's Day is a holiday honoring one's father or relevant father figure, as well as fatherhood, paternal bonds, and the influence of fathers in the society. Nigerians were given a scare as Sierra Leone pulled 2 goals back before Kelechi Iheanacho scored a winner late into the game to ensure qualification for the 2023 African Nations Cup, with 1 game to spare. The 3-time African champions picked the ticket after defeating Sierra Leone 3-2 at the Samuel Canyon Dole Stadium in Monrovia, Liberia on Sunday.
Well, there you go. Those were the trends. Of course, congratulations to the Super Eagles as well as Nigerians, and also happy Father's Day to all of you watching as well. But to kickstart this conversation for us, we have joining us in the Abuja studio, Gbenga Olorinpomi. He is a seasoned public relations expert who has served as the Senior Special Assistant to the Kogi State Governor on Media, as well as Special Assistant on Multimedia to the Minister of Youth and Sports Development. It's a pleasure to have you on the show today.
Pleasure to be here, Victor.
Absolutely. We also have joining us via Zoom from Lagos, Ibukun Adeni. He's a techpreneur and also the founder of Hack Academy. It's a pleasure to have you on the show, Ibukun. Well, we'll get to Ibukun in a minute, but tell us a little bit about this. It's an act now. First of all, happy Father's Day again. Of course. So there's been mixed reactions, like I said earlier on. When the president signed this bill into law, it's now an act, and hopefully I am made to understand that by September, Nigerians can begin to access this loan. But what came to mind, when you got this news?
So first of all, I think Nigerians should applaud the president for this initiative, because it just shows you that the people are the priority of this government, especially young people. Now, one thing people don't realize is that our GDP, only about 5% of our GDP is invested in education. Namibia is doing around 9.4%. With a law like this, basically what you are telling the world is that the education sector is open for business. What you are telling the world is that come and invest in education here. So expect that foreign direct investment to come into education just because of this bill. And also involving the CBN into it, bringing the CBN into it to be the facilitator of it, is one of the smartest things I've seen. And basically, for investing in education, what you are saying is that, look, the president knows that what we have in the world right now is an education economy, and you have to invest in it. And by saying, look, I'm taking the first step, what that means is that local and foreign investment can come in without any kind of encumbrances. So I think it's something that we should really, really appreciate, because I'll give you an example of India. India has invested so much in education that they have excess IT guys that they are, they are outsourcing them to the whole world. And that's what I see happening with this particular bill being signed into law. Yeah. I can give countless examples, but I think it's one of the smartest things to have happened, and that is happening within the first 100 days. No, within the first 10 days of the administration. Speaks to the seriousness of this government.
Let's look at its feasibility.
Okay.
How feasible is it?
Look.
Especially the payment plan. Looking at the high number of unemployed young people that we currently have. Let's assume this had coming earlier and, they're taking advantage of it. At what point, would they be able to pay?
So the law is quite clear about how it's going to be, the bodies involved, that the CBN governor is going to be the chair and those that will be involved in it. And it also gives them powers to say how, to approve within a certain time limit, and also gives them powers to say what the length of the loan will be and how much is going to be approved. So I think it's going to be taken on a case-to-case basis. Now, and there are certain criteria that that the law is clear about that makes you qualify for it. But the fun thing is this: it is an act of law right now. What that means is that if it needs amendments, depending on the current situation, of course it will be amended. I've seen certain things about that law that I think will need immediate amendment because, asking that a group of 8 people will only be the ones to approve it, maybe there's need for technology to be used so that it's easier to do. And I understand that after you are only going to be asked to pay back 2 years after you have finished your NYSC. So I think these things, I don't think Nigerians need to, look at, because the former president of America, Obama, if memory serves, he only finished paying his own law school loans when he was in office. You understand? So it's about flexibility. But the point of
that system is quite different from Nigeria. I mean, are the jobs there for young people to take advantage of?
I have always said something. It's not about Nigerians not being employed. It's about our employability. We just don't have the skills that the world is. And that is what I think this loan is going to address. One of the most interesting things that people don't talk about again is that there's going to be a system where people will be counseled on what courses they should study. And of course, they are going to study, they are going to put emphasis. Yes, as part of this.
Okay.
Because emphasis will be put on technical knowledge, which is what the world needs. I think the world needs more technicians and engineers than we need library scientists like the rest. So once that is done, once we have those skills, the jobs are available.
Very well. Then let me quickly bring in Ibukun Adeni into the conversation. Ibukun, again, it's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me again, Victor.
Absolutely.
Nice to be here.
Absolutely. So let's get your feeling, as to how you felt or what you thought when you heard the news that the president, has signed this bill into law.
So when I saw the bill, when I heard the news, I took my time to study the bill and everything. And my prognosis is basically another wasted opportunity. It's so sad to see that, we have the right idea, but we just keep trying desperately. The people in power just keep trying to consolidate power in the center. In the hands of a few people. Now, let me give you an example. If this bill is a loan, right, what did the middle class of this country, what offense did they commit that time after time they are always excluded from any supposed good idea? If this bill is to pass a student loan, then you expect that the middle class will even be the first set of people to access this loan because they are the most likely people to be able to pay back this loan.
So when when you say the middle class is excluded, what do you mean? How are they excluded?
Okay, so the bill excludes anyone from a family that earns more than 500,000. So that only includes the lower middle class. The moment your mom and your dad combined income is above 500,000, you're excluded from this bill, right? So who is this bill really focused on? It's focused on the low income earners and the lower middle class, right? So, or maybe a single father or a single mother that earns maybe 500,000 or less, So it doesn't capture a wide, the majority of the middle class, Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, please. Yes, please. Go ahead.
Yeah. So this bill excludes a large amount of middle class, right? And they are most likely the most capable people, the most likely people to be able to pay back this loan, right? So now you've excluded them. The people that the bill does capture, you now have like a blanket understanding of. It's not by how do I put it? It's not by merit. It's not by the most intelligent person gets it first. There's no metric to the approval. So it's just vague. So is it going to become a weapon of vote buying in the season of election that, okay, I will approve your student loan? If it's too vague, it's not clear who is going to be able to get this loan. So at the end of the day, it's going to be in the hands of a few people. Then you now give so much power to even civil servants. So I have to know a civil servant of a certain level, so you are giving so much power to the civil servants to be able to even, when it comes to reference, these low income earners probably even don't have access to these civil servants or the lawyer or 10-year experience that the bill requires, or, the judiciary officer, or all the things that the bill requires to be able to apply for this loan. So it's vague, and it just creates bottlenecks that will just allow some people, the people in power, the people that they are going to be put in control of this bill, the approval process, is just going to give them undue power to be able to, to just be able to abuse. So why do you write a bill like that? Why don't you just write a transparent bill, make it on merit, reward the education? Why don't you put it that, okay, make it the form of like the most intelligent person gets this, everybody knows what that is, right? But this one, nobody even knows who is going to qualify for this thing and who is not going to qualify. Then you say it's a loan and you've excluded the middle class. So I just feel like the bill is just another wasted opportunity, poorly written, and it's just to consolidate power in the hands of a few people.
So that's on one hand. Let's look at the feasibility. Those who now would be able to access the loans. Let's look at the payment plan. How feasible do you think the payment plan will be when they eventually finish?
Now, that part of the bill is very, very funny, because first of all, when you talk about 2-year imprisonment if you don't pay, how do you even enforce that? What's the definition of if you don't pay, right? If I don't have a job, how do I pay, right? So are you going to lock me up if I don't have a job? Is there a guaranteed employment? So there's so much vagueness in the payments, in the repayment structure. How do you determine who doesn't pay? Are you going to provide the jobs? And okay, it says that you should pay a certain percentage of your income. So that means if you are doing a business, or if you are, it's just vague and is not really, really clear on how this bill is going to be executed. So
let me hold you there again.
Yeah.
Let me just hold you for a bit. Let's look at execution. Quickly, we have less than a minute to break.
Okay.
Yeah, so the execution again.
So I just want to quickly respond to him and say, I'm happy that these are the only problems he has with such a bill.
Yeah.
He likes the general idea, but he's saying that in terms of execution, it will be cumbersome. And as I said earlier, it's a law. It can be amended as we move along. And I'm sure that by the time it's been amended, people like him can come forward and actually suggest to government how they can improve on it. So I don't see the problem at all. I don't see it.
So even the execution, like you said, those who are likely to have the wherewithal to pay, those who are likely to have the wherewithal or the access to, the judicial officers, civil servants, in particular.
The mindset of the man who put this bill together, and that's the Right Honorable, the Speaker, who is now the Chief of Staff to the President.
He's
the sponsor of this bill. Yeah. I think his mindset was about the poorest of the poor. And that was what he was going for. And he pushed it, convinced his colleagues.
If memory serves me right, they said indigent Nigerians. So,
exactly. So those were the primary targets. Yeah. By the time, if people in the middle class feel they are excluded, this is a democracy. That's the beauty of democracy. They can approach the House of Representatives or the lawmakers and say, look, we feel excluded, include us. We also want to benefit from this.
Let me hold you for a bit again. We need to go on this quick break. I'll let you land in just a moment. How about we have to take a quick break and we'll be back to look at more angles to this discussion. That's in a moment. Please stay with us. We still have with us our panelists right here in the Abuja studio, as well as via Zoom, Benga Olorunpomi, as well as Ibukun Adeni. Benga, just before we went on the break, you were trying to speak as to the reason or the purpose for which the sponsor of the bill sponsored it. And like I said, it says indigent Nigerians, but even at that now, again, like Ibukun said earlier on, the ability to pay, after that period.
Yeah. one of the things that I said earlier was that part of the package of this entire program is that there will be advisors, there will be counselors to counsel those who are interested in loans on the courses they should study. And of course, they are going to, because it's a business concern for them, they are going to advise them to do courses that the jobs already exist. So we're talking IT jobs. I have a friend who's making good money just putting some people together to train Asians to speak English for 30 minutes a day. And they are earning in dollars. These are jobs that already exist. But because Nigerians don't have the requisite skills to do these jobs, there are many Nigerians who are sitting in their homes writing codes and cashing it in. So these are the kind of jobs that we are talking about, jobs that are already available. And as you said, Ibukun is an IT expert, so he knows these things. So those are the lines that we're not looking to put these monies into training people to be jobs that are going to be redundant in the next few years. Not the jobs that smartphones will take away in a few years. So what I'm saying is this:
AI.
The AIs, exactly. So what I'm saying is that these are the kind of jobs that they are going to get people to be trained in, and paying back will not be a burden. And just as a little secret to who doesn't know, this particular law is President Tinubu's way of declaring a state of emergency on the education sector. And I think, don't quote me, but I think this is
well,
a precursor. Yeah, I think this is a precursor for what I call university autonomy, mass autonomy for the universities, because Nigerians can't keep saying, oh, they want lecturers to not go on strike, they want quality education, and then they still want to be paying less than 10,000 naira a semester for quality education. So I think this is a precursor for university autonomy, and I think a lot of good things are coming down the pipelines. Just the Nigerians should be patient.
Well,
the Asiwaju government is looking to leave a legacy of quality education, and this is just the first step.
Let's wait and see how that will play out. But let me again bring back Ibukun into the conversation. Ibukun, so what would you have loved to see differently, in the composition, of this bill?
What I feel the bill missed the most is the opportunity to reward intelligence, right? I feel like if the bill had just somehow captured and provided the reward, the first set of people that should be able to access this sort of funding should be people with the highest score in their JAM or what have you, right? It could have been a great opportunity to reward intelligence and make people strive towards intelligence rather than connection. Rather than my intelligence should give me something in Nigeria. My hard work should give me something in Nigeria, rather than knowing somebody that is a civil servant or knowing somebody that is on the board that will approve something or knowing something. So I feel for me, that's the most important thing. Also, I would also like to add that as regards university autonomy, which I actually also agree that this is one of the things that this bill is probably even looking to solve, like funding for the universities and things like that. And for a lot of people, especially these low-income earners, that they are pretending like the bill is going to be like a saving grace too, or whatever. The truth is that how much money is going to be released for this fund is unclear, right? But one thing that is clear is that university tuition is going to go up. Right? So university tuition is going to go up. How high is going to go, we are not sure, but tuition will go up. We don't know who is going to get it. So is this another, I just feel like it's just another food buying.
Is the bill unclear as to how much would be given in terms of, on a...
As I said, be on a case-to-case basis.
Okay.
And that's how it happens everywhere. There are certain courses abroad that are as high as $5,000, $100,000, some cheap as $20,000.
I'm even talking about how much is the president
exactly that's exactly the kind of model. The committee will decide on a case-to-case basis, depending on the course you're studying and other factors, to determine how much goes to you.
How much would be earmarked for this purpose?
So, according to, I'm a bit fuzzy on it, but it's in there that 1% of I think money is accruing to federal government, and a few other things. But then there's also a part of it that says that even donations, individuals can donate, companies can donate to this particular fund. And because it's domiciled with the CBN, of course, every time CBN will have to publish their records, exactly how much they are putting out, how many people have taken advantage. And I especially like the fact that it's clear the maximum number of days after applying that you are either approved or denied. So, while I understand very well with him, I thought maybe the issue he would have would be, why can't I just sit down in my house, apply and get it? Instead of having to go meet, a civil servant and all that. Look, those are details that we can work out as we move along. We have the bill. Let's be happy that we have it, and other things, we will jump on it as we move along.
Yeah, so pretty much you would have, an online kind of way would have been a better option?
And if...
For applying?
Well, if, again, if somebody like Ibukun believes that that's the way to go, then that's the beauty of democracy. Write a letter to your House of Rep member, push your lawmakers to do this. That is how it works. It's a democracy. That's how it works everywhere.
I know. He's like, because I'm thinking of the process that it takes to amend, a bill. How many people would have missed out on the opportunity? Look, there are certain arguments people are having online about the fact that even maybe JAM should not exist. That is democracy. People say it's slow, but it's still the best form of government. You have your say, majority have their way. So you have your lawmakers. I'm sure maybe Buko doesn't know who's representing him in the House of Representatives. and that was fine a few years ago, but all of us need to get involved. We need to get involved, because if you don't and you prefer to come online and do Twitter fingers, that's where it will end. Get involved, write letters. And I'd love a situation where a guy like this goes and starts a petition on this matter. So, and look, it deepens democracy. Mibukun, do you agree? Because just as the last word as it went down.
It reminds me of when somebody said, if you think it was rigged, go to court. That's how you sound right now. We are trying our best.
Of course.
We are trying our best to get involved. That's why I'm here, to try and put as much light as possible. The most important thing for me is, please, to everybody in position of power, if you want this country to grow, we need to begin to reward intelligence. We need to begin to give the proceeds of democracy to the most hardworking, the most intelligent among us, and stop writing bills that will benefit connection and approval over hard work and intelligence. That's just how I'm going to end it.
All right, very well. Then I'll say thank you to you for joining us, Ibukun Adeni, techpreneur and the founder of Hack Academy, joined us via Zoom from Lagos. Agbenga, thanks as well to you for joining us right here in the Abuja studio. It's a continuing discussion as always, and of course we'll monitor how this
never ends. It's a circle.
Indeed. We'll see how the funds will be dispersed. We'll see who would benefit from it, and we'll also look at the process, the genuity, like Ibukun is saying. But let's wait till September and see how things go.
And I look forward to, hosting some of the beneficiaries on this show.
Well, when that time comes, we'll decide about that. But thanks again. Well, that's where we're going to drop the anchor on the show today. Thank you so very much for watching. And of course, would hope that this act will benefit those it was meant for without any preferability or preference, be it on any of the bases that might exist or people might think exists. But let's just wait and see how all of that will play out. Hopefully, it is going to be for the best. But again, that's where we'll wrap up the show. Thank you so very much for watching. I'm Victor Matthias, and would leave you with the most viewed videos on our YouTube channel in the past week. Bye for now.
Begin Abbas, 353 votes.
This week's most viewed videos kicks off with the election of the Speaker in the 10th Assembly. Followed by the Guard of Honor inspected by the President Bola Tinubu on Democracy Day. seized the keenly contested election of Senator Godswill Akpabio as President of the Senate.
I, Senator Godswill Akpabio, Commander of the Order of the Niger,
do solemnly swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
to
the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
It is time for our paradigm shifts.
While second spot is taken by the passionate appeal of Channels Television political editor to President Tinubu.
By demanding accountability from every corner of government and by making decisions that prioritize the collective welfare of our people. Don't be deceived by the sycophants. A lot of people out there don't trust your abilities but disappoint them.
I also want to say that oil theft is encouraged by the military.
And in first, the accusation by Asari Dokubo that the military is at the center of oil theft in Nigeria.
99% of oil theft can be traced to the Nigerian military, the army and the navy especially.